All right, welcome everybody. Got Tom and George. Friday live stream. Friday after the market closes. Every Friday. Good, bad. And today was, I guess, both. We'll let you guys decide if this was a good day or a bad day. And we had a really good day this week. And then we had a really bad day for Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. So it's been a roller coaster. Let me throw the chart up right away and just show you. I mean, this was Wednesday. We had a gigantic reversal. I mean, this was pretty much, this candle engulfed 1, 2, 3, 4, all of these. So that was a gigantic up day in what looked like we were trending in the wrong direction. But, of course, then the very next day, giant red candle. So that's what kind of week it's been. But today, better. And you can see the Bitcoin miners. We'll go through them later. But, I mean, more green than red. Only one looks like it had a really rough day, which was Argo Blockchain, down 7.44%. But of the larger caps, they were mostly green. Bitfarms was down 2.48%. Cypher was down 1%. Iris Energy down 0.5%. BitDeer was flat. And then a bunch of up 2%, 3%, 4%. So not a bad day today, but not too much action. A lot of volatility, but by the end of the week, not very much movement. So how did you guys fare? This was a roller coaster. So I'll start off by saying that I did not buy any Bitcoin mining stocks this week, and I did not sell any Bitcoin mining stocks this week. So that's rare for me. I've been pretty consistently dollar cost averaging in, and this week I did not. You know, and things kind of got away. It looked like we were moving down. I should say, I don't know if I did something on Monday. But I did, on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I didn't buy or sell anything. I can't remember Monday or Tuesday. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, nothing. Because I didn't sell anything into this rally on Wednesday. And so my thought was, if I didn't sell, and you guys, for those of you familiar with the channel, you know that's not really my deal. I'm not the day trader type. So, you know, I didn't sell into this rally. So this big gigantic pullback didn't even get us back to where we were, you know, 2 days earlier. So I didn't sell anything, I didn't buy anything. I just let things stand still. I hear you. Connect. Oh, gotcha. All right. Would you say you're having technical difficulties? Well, that's my specialty. Oh, that awful stream we tried to listen to, and that's why you're... Yeah, please. Yeah, that whole thing did not go well. If everybody would please smash the like button, helps the channel out a lot. It helps the live stream out a lot. This was a rough week. We got to get the live stream to come alive here. So we always shoot for 100 likes. We've been crushing that in the last month or two. So I'm seeing 17 likes. Maybe I think it just jumped up to 20. So if you could smash the like button, much appreciated. It really does help the stream out a lot. What's happening, George? Oh, I can hear you. Is it possible that I can hear you and they can't hear you? That doesn't make sense to me. Oh, boy. Oh, you want me to get technical support in here and see if there's a scenario at work? But if I can hear you, all right. My apologies, everybody. I'm going to get technical support. It's going to take me 20 seconds. So, and George can't talk you through it because that's the whole problem is you can't hear George. I will be right back. Hold on. Okay, George, give us a test. I think that we can hear you.
You can hear me. Hopefully we can hear me.
All right, I can hear you. We got tech support in here, and he did something. Talk. Oh, I see what's going on now.
Conspiracy theories?
Boom. They can hear you now.
Okay, good. What was I going to say?
Well, welcome to the stream, George. Apparently everything you've said has not been heard by anybody. So we have been here with George. It's just we haven't been able to hear him.
Well, I can tell you one thing. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
It's just another prominent influencer, and every time we talk about other people...
We can shout out Swan Bitcoin, right?
If you want to. I mean, Bitcoin, I think you just did, so...
Yeah, I mean, they're a decent company. I mean, I don't have any issues with them. They have a self-mining with Bitcoin product where you can either keep your coins. So they have it. It's pretty neat. So if you have your coins on Swan, then they kind of like move them over so that they won't get touched. Or you can go to a cold wallet. Remember, not your keys, not your coin. I also heard this year more people have moved. You guys know this. More people have moved coins off exchanges than ever before.
Yeah, that number continued. The number of coins on chain continues to decrease. So you've been harping on that all year this year. And that is going to be key. That is going to be key. And when it's really going to be key, it's not, it continues to decrease, and it's something that's brewing. It hasn't reached a point where it's a problem, but when that ETF hits and there's no liquidity. I mean, A plus B.
I think it wasn't Nate that said next week 48K for Bitcoin. I think he's thinking the ETF is coming out.
Well, I believe that the SEC has kicked the can again. So this deadline that's coming up, they've already the
17th, yeah.
That's already
today. Yeah. That's gone.
So that is gone, and now January is the next date. So we gotta wait. January's not that far away, but we're a month and a half, probably a little bit more.
Anybody looking to sell Bitcoin off exchange? I'm your man. Reach out to me on Discord. George. No, I think it's just Kudab C-O-M. Kudab C-U-D-A-B C-U-M. C-O-M. C-O-M.
The other important thing to remember is that the ETF does not have to happen on one of these exact deadlines. And
I don't think it's happening until Tether and Binance is worked out. I'm in that camp now, by the way.
Well, then you don't think it's happening for maybe years. Is that what you're thinking?
I'm thinking the whole thing with Tether is I mean, you heard Fink talk about it, right?
About what? When?
I think BlackRock, their position was that there were still issues with the blockchain, with Bitcoin and Binance and Tether specifically.
I did not hear that. Is that recently? Because, I mean, he's working against his own agenda. Within
the last 14 days. I can tell you that was said in the last 14 days.
Okay. I mean, they're one of the ones hoping to get approved first or in the first group.
I won't steal your thunder, but Tether's up to something, Tom, and then I can say what I want to say about Tether.
You want to do you want me to do that real quick, and then you can.
Yeah, because Tether is, man.
Okay, so I just switched. You should be able to see this on screen. The biggest stablecoin player wants to be a major Bitcoin miner, and it's investing $500 million to compete. So I'll just quickly, I'm not going to read this whole thing. Tether's investing $500 million to enter Bitcoin mining. This is a report from Bloomberg. The $87 billion stablecoin operator has large coffers that could make it significant competitor in the space. Now, they do go on to say they're not looking to be the biggest player, but they're looking to get 1%. I'm trying to look for it. They want to get to 1% of the global hash rate. Here we go. Eventually, the company aims to expand its share of the total computing power to run the Bitcoin network to 1%. By the end of 2023, I'll pronounce his name, but it'll be wrong. Arduino said Tether will reach up to 120 megawatts across its operations and 450 megawatts by the end of 2025. So, that starts to be decent size. There's lots of the bit, it doesn't put them in the top 5 of the publicly traded, but this is bigger than more than we look on our channel. We have 19 Bitcoin miners that we follow. This would be bigger than probably at least 10 of those.
So, Tom, do you believe that's a real story, or do you think that's a fake story?
I think this is a real story. Yes.
I don't. You want to know why?
Yeah. Tell me.
They should be able to. Why wouldn't you go buy one of these other miners that are already as a publicly traded company and buy them? And why go through all the headaches that these guys have already gone through, all the mistakes they've learned from? You can name, it's endless stuff. Why would you just go to the drawing board and just start from scrap?
So who would you have them buy?
There's a few companies out there that are good. I mean, Iris is a great example. I mean, what are they worth? 350 million?
So the question becomes, are those companies in the market to sell themselves? Because you can want to buy a company all you want, but if they're not in the market to sell themselves.
Have you ever watched that movie? Was it Wall Street with Warren Gecko? The hostile takeover, Tom? Have you not seen these things happen? These happen. But what I'm saying is there's a lot of opportunities out there for other companies to be bought. I mean, even Stronghold has a great example of some of learning from mistakes, right? And then there's just tons of companies out there that would be. That's why I don't believe that's a true story, because I just believe that Tether is just throwing more, pardon my expression, throwing shit against the wall to see if they can get it to stick.
Here's what I would say. Counterpoint. I would say I believe the story. I think they're going to try to go do this. But to your point, it's easier said than done. If anybody could do this, then everybody would be doing it. We've seen the pain that most of these companies have gone through to get to the size that Tether's talking about. Now, maybe Tether thinks, oh, we've learned from everybody else's mistake. We'll go do it. But
they haven't even shared their mistakes.
But what I would say is there's very few Bitcoin mining companies right now that would sell themselves that are worth buying.
Okay. Listen to this. Listen to this. Okay. Bitfarms is a great example. Bitfarms would partner with them. They could come in. They could get a percentage of that company. Just a great example. Why would you go and you're worth $87 billion, right? Why would you take and waste any of that money? Number one. Number two, I think there's more smoke to this than you can possibly imagine, because why wouldn't they take $5 million and get one of the big four to audit them? Bet you they can do it for less than $5 million.
That's a horse of a different color. So that's the other part of the story. And it's a part of the same part. My biggest issue with that story is how can you be a stable coin, but then spend $500 million on highly speculative stuff? Because let's be honest,
attest to that.
Most of the Bitcoin miners are not. Let's just say they haven't been pegged to the dollar by any stretch of the imagination. Nor, they've been a leverage play down versus even Bitcoin. So, this is not this. Correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding of a stable coin is that it's pegged to the dollar, and it's supposed to be stable. So, alternative, highly speculative investments, I don't know. Are they making so much profit on interest that they've got this kind of money to throw around that's, out of their profits? I don't know. I'll give you that. There's something fishy. And I know one of your things has been, why don't they get an audit? And really, in my opinion, for a stable coin, they should get, there's no reason that they couldn't have a monthly audit by, one of the major accounting firms. To your point, George, that would be not expensive at all. So, and everybody else has to do it, not monthly, but, annually, typically.
So it was the Cayman Islands is where some of their accounts are. That is when the whole audit kind of went a little squirrely. Where it was like, I'm just going to, the bankers just signed a little letter saying, and if you read what he says, he doesn't even say they have that much money. He just kind of writes a little letter saying, I can contest to that there is an account for Tether here. And
so you're saying there's not an audit out there that gives you a comfort level in what's going on with Tether.
I mean, and it's sad because, from what I've read and understand, Tether's a very good coin. As long as you have $100,000 to exchange it off network.
So Barry is saying Tether has $3 billion extra to invest. So maybe according to Tether, it sounds like they're saying that must mean profits. But if they have $3 billion in profits, this is my confusion. So sorry, George. Let me give you, and then you can. Then how are you pegged to the dollar? Why aren't you worth more than $1? If you've got all the money secured to be pegged 1-to-1 to the dollar, plus you've got $3 billion beyond that, then how do they stay? Because, they get pegged to the dollar like, 1/100th%, 2 or 3/100th%. That's the typical fluctuation. So,
and when they say they have $3 billion extra dollars, okay, Tom, this is how they come up with it. They have did anybody see Dumb and Dumber? They have a briefcase, right? And it says, I owe you, okay? I'm good for every single one of those dollars. Every single one of them.
So you're saying there's a chance.
I'm just telling you guys, until there's a financial audit, and this is me speaking, and usually it's like the opposite here, but they got to be audited. I owe you.
I'm never, I'm not going to argue with an audit.
Yeah, you've seen $87 billion. Do you think $1 billion is missing? Come on, guys. Do you think $2 billion? Come on. I bet you there's $3 billion extra to invest. That could be all they have. I don't know nothing. I'm just saying I want to see an audit. Why won't they do an audit? There's only one reason they won't do an audit. Only one. Because they're not going to pass it.
To your point, do an audit and put that issue to bed. Right?
Was it Evergrande?
Then nobody ever has to talk about it again.
Was it Evergrande out in China? Evergrande, the company that went PK?
Right. The real estate deal in China.
You don't think that they this caught up with some of that? This is billions and billions of dollars that just have been flushed away. I think the whole Chinese market is built on cards right now. A house of cards. The whole stock exchange, the whole economy right now is about you're going to huff and you're going to puff and it could just implode.
Well, having said that, since, rumors have abounded for years now on Tether, yet in that period of time, Some stable coins have gone away altogether. Binance's stablecoin is almost gone, and USDC is worth a lot less than it used to be, and Tether is worth a lot more than it used to be. So while it is the most questioned thing maybe out there, it's thriving. I mean, it's the de facto go-to stablecoin. Right?
I agree with you.
Let's go to the list.
Chuck, that was a good one. The Ferrari IOU. You want to keep that one? I'm sorry. I mimic my life after Dumb and Dumber.
Where's the stuff, man? Here we go. So
no, we don't understand China. That is exactly correct.
Look at this. This is shocking me right now as I speak. USDC, $24 billion. Tether, $87 billion. These were almost the same a year ago. So Tether's now more than triple. USDC's going away. It's all going away. It's just Tether.
Which one is BlackRock behind? USDC?
I don't know the answer to that.
Well, they're behind one of them, and it's not Tether.
Somebody let us know in the comments.
I thought it was USDC. I don't remember, though.
Well, if it is, they're failing miserably because USDC has gotten destroyed. And I don't understand why a stable coin will get... Now, there were rumors circulating. They were a part of that bank in California that went under. There was a period of time where, less than 3 days, where people were worried, there's a big chunk of their money that's going away. But that did not happen. They got all their money. That situation's resolved. But at that time, I think Tether, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I know it was multiples larger than this. I think it was more like $60 billion at that time, and now it's $24 billion. And I mean, there's Tether and everybody else. All the rest of the stable coins in the world are less than a third of what Tether is.
And isn't Binance right below Tether?
Binance's coin, not their stable coin. Their stable coin, we kind of kicked them out of the U.S., and so their stable coin has drastically dropped. But their coin, BNB, is number 4, right behind, way behind Tether.
But those two, what's the market cap between those two, Tether and BNB?
But BNB is not a stable coin at all.
But what's the market cap between?
I got you. That's the other thing. Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean it's over 100, 110.
Yeah. So it's almost 10% of the total crypto market. It's like 8%.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's all 100%, bad or anything.
Billion. $123 billion.
So it's almost 10%. So
yeah.
we're 1.4, 1.5.
I don't even think we're that high. We're at 1.28 according to Coin Market Cap, and I know those numbers vary, depending on what website you're looking at, but plus or minus we're at around 1.3. So yeah, Tether and Binance are about 10% of the crypto universe. That is true. That's a true point. Now there's been, they keep.
I have the first poll, and it's going to be a weird poll if you don't mind doing it.
Go right. Yeah, let me get.
This is a weird. It's just because obviously there's no recession, or if we had a recession, we're over it. Does anybody think that something bigger than a recession is coming? Like a depression. That's the poll. Does anybody think yes or no?
I'm trying to
It's a real simple one. I'm just wondering what the mood of the audience is, if they think that or don't think that.
Meanwhile, your host is having issues.
Usually you don't have any issues doing the polls.
Now, I got it.
Would they change everything?
No, I don't know. I blame myself.
I got 2 no's so far. They're like, we don't need a poll, Tom. It's going to take too long.
That's outrageous. I'm in now. What do you want to call it specifically?
A depression. I guess say a depression.
Depression?
A depression, yeah.
Oh, so do you think we're
Would you
moving
say
into a...
2008, what would you call 2008? Was that a depression?
That was, what were they calling that? The Great Recession.
Okay, so call it the Great Recession. Are we going to have another Great Recession? And I don't, by the way, I would venture to guess it ain't going to be next year.
Okay, so I'll say in the next, this is pretty far out, but I'm going to say in the next 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
Because it starts to get real hard to know what the heck's going to happen in the next 2 years. But this is a simple yes or no. Quick poll. Let's just see what everybody thinks. And while everybody's thinking about that, if you'd be so kind as to smash the like button, it helps the channel out a lot. It helps the stream out a lot. I think people had a rough week because we're low on likes today. Or perhaps people don't like the
Are you calling
stream.
me Jesus? I'm just asking what the mood is out there. I don't... Listen, if I thought we were... I would have predicted we would have had a worse decline in the market in the last 90 days than we did. I don't think you can ever crash a stupid market, I'll be honest with you. It doesn't matter what we throw at it. It still ends up being okay.
If it hasn't happened yet...
Yeah, I know.
Then...
The only thing that I'm worried about, and this is the reason why I said 2 years, is AI. I read an article, and I don't know if you guys will agree with this or not. I read an article that's saying that over 75% of news medias, of sports writers are all gone because of AI.
Well, they must not have been doing a very good job if AI could take their job away from them. Now, for some people, I understand. Certain things are actually getting automated and it is replacing jobs. But if you're a sports reporter, if you can't beat AI, then that's your fault.
I can tell you from my own personal opinion, with my business and everything, we're killing it. I mean, it blows my mind how well we're doing. We have to be more cautious on the risks we take, but we're killing it on the stuff we're doing.
Money printers laughed at the poll. Nash V said, money printers getting lubricated at the moment.
Yeah, I know, because, I mean, there's a lot of crazy things that are happening now.
I'm pretty surprised at the poll results right now. In fact, I'm stunned.
Me too.
I'm stunned. Everybody, voting is free. If you're... I don't know if there's devices people are on where they're unable to vote on a poll. I don't know. But hey, if you can, vote.
Okay, hang on. Tom, hey Tom, this is Seed. Spot ETF coming to you. Think transaction fees will soar even farther and also abstain because of all the transactions that were happening on Bitcoin. Go.
And also what?
Will it abstain, where they continue with these transaction fees for the oracles? Is that what you call them?
Or the ordinals are usually...
I just don't... we got to call them something else.
I don't even want to venture a guess. Yeah. I don't think... I'll show you guys where we're at right now, and we're still getting some pretty darn good... Where is this? Transaction fees are up. Dun, 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 dun. Come on. Okay, so here we go. Fees.
Oh, and on Bitcoin.
So this is real time. This is, I'll refresh this, but this is literally the last block that was just mined. Just under 1 Bitcoin of fee. Just under a Bitcoin, 1.3 Bitcoin, 1.27, 1.1, 1.6, 2.3 Bitcoin. This was just, within the last hour. 1.8, 2.6. I mean, these fees have been up and it's been fluctuating. You can see all of a sudden, we're raging again right now. And it's been up and down, but very high all November, which is one of the reasons I think, a couple of times the Bitcoin miners were struggling a little. And November is going to be an epic month for some of these Bitcoin miners when they put their monthly operational report out. I mean, when you're getting 1 or 2 Bitcoin per block, that's massive. And if this happens, so one of the big conversations is after the halving, if the fees are at 1 or 2 Bitcoin, that is, as a percentage, that's going to make a dramatic difference. So I don't think if we average out the fees over the next 12 months, I don't think they're going to look anything like this. I think there's going to be time to time when these fees go ballistic. And to me, this is the fees going ballistic. When you're getting a couple of Bitcoin per block, I mean, I'll go back in time a little bit. And so this is 33 pages back, which isn't that long ago. This is October. 0.3 Bitcoin, 0.1 Bitcoin, 0.1 Bitcoin to 2 Bitcoin. That's a 20x. So 0.2, that's a 10x. I mean, this is a drastic change in the fees. So that's why I'm saying November is going to be a very good month for some of these Bitcoin miners. But I don't think these fees are sustainable in the short term. I do think as time goes by, as the years go by, these fees will continue to, on average, go up. And then we'll have surges, based on one-off type of events that go on. That's my opinion.
And yeah, they're paid in Bitcoin. They're not paid in cash, just so you guys know. Nothing's usually paid in cash in crypto. Shimmy Shim said, I'm confused. What is the relationship with ordinals and BTCs?
Ordinals are basically the NFT. Ordinals are to Bitcoin what NFTs are to Ethereum, if you think about it that way. So what happens is if people are buying and selling a massive amount of ordinals, then the amount of transactions on the Bitcoin network gets jammed up, and it's almost like an auction. If you want your transaction to go through, people will agree to pay a higher and higher and higher fee to get their transaction into this next block. So the more transactions that are out there, sometimes these fees can spike, and typically it's been the ordinals, having a lot of activity that have resulted in these big spikes in the amount of transactions, and then therefore in the amount of fees per block. So just so everybody understands, when you mine a block, you get a reward. That's freshly minted Bitcoin. So right now that's 6.25 Bitcoin. That's going to get cut in half at the halving. But you also get all the fees that were generated in order to generate that block. So, we just looked at them. That they've ranged, the fees just in the last 30 days have ranged anywhere from 0.1 Bitcoin to, there was one that was over 3 Bitcoin. We didn't look at that one just now, but a few weeks ago there was one that popped over 3. There were several we just saw that were over 2 Bitcoin. So, I mean, these are big short-term increases in the fees. And I don't think the NFT is, I don't think the ETF is going to increase that in any way, in my opinion.
Do you know who's using them? Like what website?
I don't. Other than what I just said, I've never bought an ordinal or an NFT or sold one, and I never will. But I know they happen. I know there's a lot of people that think there's gigantic use cases for them. I am on record. I think they're of no use. That's my opinion. I'm sure there's got to be at least one person on this stream that totally disagrees with me.
I would disagree with that one. I mean, there's definitely... I mean, this guy made a Bitcoin wizard, and he wants 0.0999 Bitcoin for it. I don't know what... It's an NFT.
It's a wizard? Is it?
Yeah, they call it the Bitcoin wizard.
Can it perform wizardly acts? Because that I would
Yeah.
pay for.
So yeah, they believe these things have magical powers.
That nobody believes that. Are you just saying that?
Oh my goodness. Oh my good. Are you kidding me? Did you just say no one believes that?
Well, all right. I won't say. You should never use absolutes. That's absolutely a bad idea.
Yeah, Binance started using them. That's what's caused their recent spike.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the information, Barry.
6.25 plus fee means that there are always being more mined than there are programmed. Did you hear that question? How does that? I'm going to ask that a little differently, Stephen. How does that affect the longevity of Bitcoin? Do you understand what I'm saying, or no?
I don't. 6.25 Bitcoin plus fees means there are always more being mined than are programmed. Well, remember, the fees are not freshly minted Bitcoin. Those are existing Bitcoin. So the freshly minted Bitcoin per block is 6.25. The fees are charged with each transaction and accumulated and then paid to whoever solves the block. So the actual amount of freshly minted Bitcoin is 6.25 per block. That will never change. But you can, as the fees go up, you get those as well. If that answers the question, I'm not sure it does.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look at a story. I'm trying to pick the right story. Okay, all right. I'm gonna just get off topic. Oh, first of all, I'm gonna ask everybody to vote if you can vote. I want to get back to this poll because these results to me are stunning. Do you think that a great recession? Well, I shouldn't say stunning. We said great recession. So a great recession. Not a recession, and the meaning of this poll, a great recession. If you guys, I know our audience skews towards old enough to remember the 2008 cycle, whether or not you were investing or not. We had, the banks had a systemic failure, essentially, and we went into what was not a typical recession. Recessions are a typical part of the cycle. Most people would argue that they are healthy. They're not fun. Nobody wants to be in a recession, but it's how the world works. But what happened in 2008 was substantially more severe than a normal recession. And so, hence the term Great Recession. It wasn't like the Great Depression was. And most of the reason for that is government induced, right? The United States federal government in particular, I'm speaking of, has had, 80 years or whatever it is, 90 years since the Great Depression. And they've put a massive amount of safeguards in place to try to avoid, and there's, no guaranteeing, but, to try to avoid getting back into that scenario. Now, a lot of that is quite simply just printing money and things like that. They lowered interest rates to zero. I mean, some people that are younger don't know that that's like a shocking thing. So, and they stayed there for a while. So, they lower interest rates, they print a lot of money. You could clearly argue that that is just deferring the problem because, it's devaluing the dollar. Our debt is at a point where, it's disastrous in the United States. If you're in other countries around the world, let us know in the chat how your country has, have they turned the press printing machines on yet? Because it is coming. But typically, because the U.S. economy is so large, that's the one that affects the markets the most. Anyway, 38% of the people in this poll think we're going to have a great recession. So 38% of the people think, we're in for, I think the market was down, I want to say 58%. I'm going to double check that. But that's what I think. So rather than guess.
It's getting closer. I mean, it's 38 to 62. I mean,
You're talking Bitcoin. I'm saying the S&P 500 was down. I'm not gonna say it again. I'm gonna check the numbers.
okay, check the numbers.
Because let's not guess. So some of this chart should jump out at you. Like, I think everybody remembers this period. This was March 2020. So the last time you see something like that is here. So if we measure... Yeah, this was 58. This is saying 57. I think I didn't do it right because 58 is the number I had in my head. The S&P, the SPY mirrors the S&P 500. This was down 58%. So that's catastrophic's the wrong word, but that's a nightmare. That's a nightmare. And 36% of you think that's coming in the next couple of years. Now, I'm going to end this poll and ask the next question, because the next logical question, especially for this group, would be, how does that affect Bitcoin? So let's do that.
The Earth isn't flat. Because when I walk on it, I don't fall off. Seems flat to me. I don't think the Earth is flat, just so you guys know. I'm joking. Do 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 do. Why do you think people buy NFTs? I can't say that. Ordinals.
I'll leave.
Why do you think people buy? I mean, do you think they just think that they're going to go up in value?
I'll answer that. Let me post this quick one, and then I'll give you my answer. It's not the answer. Okay. How would a great recession affect Bitcoin? So if we did have a massive, massive economic disaster, would Bitcoin crash like everything, along with everything else, which is what happened in March of 2020?
So here's my question. How long are you just saying in a flash crash?
You did not say a flash crash. You said a great recession.
No. I'm talking about Bitcoin now. You said Bitcoin crash with everything else. Because immediately my answer is yes, but I think that it's gonna
if the market's down 58%, that's gonna happen over. Yeah. So then you think Bitcoin's gonna crash with everything else?
No, I do, but don't get me going. Then people hate me.
I don't think people hate you, George.
Yeah, they hate. I get hate mail all the time. You want me to read some of them? Here's one right here.
Trust me, I got more than enough of my own.
Here's a hate one right here from Chase Bank. They say I owe $6,000. That's just pure hate, Tom.
That's hate. That's just not
right. This? Who's this interest? And what is he doing wanting to be paid every month?
It's outrageous. All right, we're at 72 likes. If you want to help the channel, if you want to help the live stream, feel free to smash the like button. It is free to smash the like button. Also, if you're not subscribed, it's free to subscribe. We did just reach 15,000 subscribers a few weeks ago, so thank you to all of the subscribers who are on the stream with us. And special thank you. I see in the chat a lot of members, so super special thank you to all the members that are joining us on the stream.
Barry, that is a good question. Why do people buy posters? I don't buy posters. George WW3? Yeah, you know, WW3 is an interesting one because I would think that WW3 is going to happen before the next election. Does anybody? That might be another question to ask. I mean, I'm not being political on that.
I know,
am I?
but no, it's
I
not.
just-
It's not political. But holy cow,
Oh.
we just asked if there's going to be a depression.
Well,
Now we're
Edmund
gonna
just asked
ask
me,
if
George.
there's
He
gonna-
wrote WW3. And thanks, Sour. I love you too, man. You're my peeps.
Can we ask a happy question
I can.
or
No,
a
I mean,
neutral? At
I'm
least?
not trying. I'm not sad at all. I'm actually pretty happy. You bastard.
That doesn't sound happy.
No, he just asked George WW3.
Well, you can answer that question. We definitely don't need to do a
Yeah, I'm
poll
not doing
on
a
it.
poll. We don't need to do a poll on that.
I do not. No, I do not think that is coming. I
I heard
remain an
good news.
optimist.
I heard good news is Iran just said, "Hey, Hamas, yeah, my bad. We ain't got your back."
Well, that would lower the temperature
that-
big time.
Yeah, that just changed here in the last. They got bombs and shit. Sorry. Yeah, we out.
I know there's a lot of there's two active, what do you want to call them, wars, conflicts, whatever terminology you want to use, and I don't see an end. I don't know what the end is. I don't know the answer to that, but I feel like I don't think we're escalating into a world war. That's a serious term. That's what I will say about that. If you look at, I'm not going to do any history on here, but if you look at what world wars are, I don't think I pray that we're not headed for anything like that.
What does that do to the stock market? Does it go up? Does it help it go up? I'm sorry, Sour. I don't usually ever. I problem.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I remain optimistic.
Well, I do too. But I mean, I think without anything, you have to take the real with you have to be ready. I think in life, I'm a Boy Scout. Always be prepared. That's just how I look at it.
I hear you.
Always be prepared.
And anything's possible, but you gotta prepare yourself for the unlikely, but you gotta plan for the
So, Tom,
probable.
Can you tell me why the Bitcoin miners have been getting beat up this week?
This week, this month, this 4
month,
months.
Yeah.
Yes. But let me go back to the ordinals for just a second, because I don't. One thing that I will tell you, and this was an NFT conversation, and I suspect that the ordinals is a similar situation, and that is that. I'm sorry. Did we miss? I don't have anything in my screen. Did somebody do a member chat or a super chat?
All right.
No, I don't see one. Was that wishful thinking?
No, I hear it telling me that it happened, but I don't see it.
I don't see it. Look at that. The next drop was an Eagle Scout. Yes. There it is. 702. Coming through. But I don't see it, 702.
I don't know why my chat is not.
I don't know why.
Showing. Let's see. Well, thank you, whoever that is. Hopefully, in a minute.
Thanks,
all right, maybe my
Dean.
chat is running behind. I see that.
Another one,
Crypto
just like
Fever,
that one.
Thank you very much, sir. Very much appreciated. Hope you had a great week. Thanks for all your contributions. Also in Crypto Fever in particular, and a lot of you watching. FB702, thank you very much. Very much appreciated. And the same will go to you. Thank you guys for your contribution in the members only Discord. We've had outstanding conversation in thank you very much. We've had outstanding dialogue going in the members only Discord. There was a short period of time that All right. We had a little arguing going on in the members only Discord. That has dissipated. We're having an outstanding conversation in there. I'll tell you, I went in one night. For whatever reason, I tend to be the last one in on the day. And FE702, thank you for all the super chats. Monumentally appreciated. I don't know why I'm the last one in on the day, but so sometimes. All right. There was like 100 comments that I had missed in our members only Discord. So
Yeah,
I do read every single comment in the members only Discord. Sometimes you'll see it takes me a little while to respond. So then all of a sudden there was like 10 comments in a row from me because I was catching up and responding to, you know, a bunch of different things that people were saying in there. But my point of this was thank you, Darren Thomas, very much. My point of all of this was that the conversation in the members only Discord has been exceptional, and it's been some deep dives into the cycle of the economy, the cycle of the liquidity of cash, this of the Bitcoin cycle, and obviously we always talk about the Bitcoin miners. So a lot of really good conversation going on. All right. Nikki94, thank you very much. Much appreciated for all of the super chats. Thank you so much, everybody. All right. Bull Trader, thank you very much. I gotta find something's going on because I want to read everybody's super chat, but my machine, I did get an update. My stupid Windows updated. Calvin, thank you very much. Listen, I have a hard enough time with all of this computer equipment. I'm not a boomer. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I know lots. All right. All my brothers and sisters are. Lots of you guys are.
I figured maybe I could get Tom's attention this way, guys.
I see your super chat. It's the only one that showed up in my entire. What is going on? All right.
I think Tom pressed a button.
I don't know what's going. Thank you.
Somebody asked me what I was in at. Somebody asked me what I was in at with CleanSpark and Marta, and since I needed to try to bring the stream back to talking about Bitcoin miners, why everybody's here, I figured I would do that super chat to get you more focused, Tom.
Yeah. Let me try to focus. I'm trying to pay proper attention to the people that are. Maybe I don't know. It's none of these are showing up. It's like they're happening. They're not happening. Drop a regular chat. If you've given a super chat, please do me a favor and drop a regular chat because it's almost like they're being blocked from me, and/or there's a gremlin in the machine and they're not really happening.
The other ones are fake super chats.
All right, maybe. That's what I
don't
feel
have
like.
a crypto golfer. I don't have a big position in Marathon, but I do have a position. I thought Marathon was going to take off. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was going to take off, and it did not. Did not at all.
What? Which one?
Sorry, Marathon.
I'm
Marathon.
Continuing my discombobulation.
Yeah, I'm convinced Tom hit something too. Hey, Sour, I'm going to give you a quick elevator pitch for a bull case on Bitcoin, and then Tom can take it too, because Tom seems to be lost today. He's distracted, seeing all these super chats come across. I think you hit a button, and it's just playing all the super chats you've ever gotten.
Maybe.
I'm thinking. I don't know.
Maybe that's what's going on.
But here's my bold case for Bitcoin and why I love Bitcoin long term. Because eventually, when you see, this is interesting, and this is what I think. In order for Bitcoin to take off, the dollar needs to crash. Do you disagree with that, Tom?
I think the dollar needs to come back down to earth.
To go parabolic, the dollar needs to crash. How about that? Is that okay?
I don't think that. No, I don't think the dollar. Well, can I answer that with a chart, or is it going to sidetrack your conversation?
No, you can answer with a chart. No, my position. I have never changed my view on Bitcoin. I just think that there's going to be a rug pull before it happens.
This is the DXY. So this is the US dollar versus a basket of other currencies. You're going to see today was another big red candle. We have had massive pullback over the last few weeks in the DXY. We're back down to this green line. This green line, up until, we crossed it a year ago, this was a 20-year, so, if I zoom out, this was a 20-year high. You got to go back to 2017. We tested this line and failed. Then you got to go all the way back to 2002 is the last time the dollar was this strong versus foreign currencies. So, George, to answer your question with this chart, I think for Bitcoin to go parabolic, we just need to get back down to a normal level for the dollar. The dollar can't have this ludicrous. This is just a 20-year high. That's not a normal level. This is just
Is the green line a normal level?
No,
or is the green line 20-year high.
Yeah, the green line on this chart was until recently was a 20-year high for the dollar. So we got to get out of this neighborhood back to reality. We don't have to crash, but if we could just get back to where, back to normal. I mean, look where normal is on this thing. How about 90 down there? How about 95? 95 would be great. Right? 90, all of the, look at all the different times. I mean, it's been, here's a crash. I suspect if we go to 2009, right, this is 70. We don't need that. We don't need that. All the bull cycles have happened inside of normal prices. Right now, we're extra abnormally strong dollar. And I know that's counterintuitive because we have inflation. And this measure of the dollar is just versus all the other foreign currencies. So, because of that, because the rest of the world's currencies are struggling as well, and everybody's economies are struggling, with all that put together, the dollar's at this ridiculously high number. When you can see July of 2023, this is when Bitcoin hit its high for the year the first time at 31,800. Now, on just this little pullback, we've gone, we've crushed where we were. So if we could just get back to where we were in July, I think we could be off to the races. Sorry, that was a much bigger sidetrack.
No, you're fine.
But that's my answer. I don't think we need the dollar to crash. I think we need to come back down to earth. That would be my opinion.
Right. So what happens over time is as that dollar goes down, we will start to lose purchasing power with that fiat money. And eventually, unfortunately, this next statement is a fact, as many people don't want to accept it as a fact. Every fiat currency has crashed in the earth.
Did you know that, Tom? In the history of the world.
In the history of the world, every fiat currency has crashed. At some point in time,
ours has. I mean,
right.
When I say ours, I'm in the U.S., so I'm speaking of the United States currency.
I mean, we can look at two examples of I'm going to say failed policies, failed governments. Would be Venezuela is a great example right now, where $1 is, let's see what it is right now. one U.S. American dollar is worth. Take a guess. Anybody want to guess?
Oh,
I won't even.
Some of these have gone into the millions and the billions. It gets to the point.
I will tell you, it's in the millions, guys. And so, basically, what I believe, is that the only thing you're going to have that's stable is Bitcoin. I'm becoming more of a Bitcoin maximist.
I was going to say, you're definitely.
I'm becoming. I don't know if it's because I've watched different people in the last week, but I mean, listening to Saylor talk, he was just on somebody else's channel, Tom. And by the way, all these channels get almost the same amount of views as you do, even though they have like 600,000 subs I'm just like, what? How is that possible? They get the same amount.
It makes
You know?
it makes no sense. I don't know what all these. I don't know. We talked about. I think it might have been the members only that we talked about that a little bit.
Oh, is that what it was? So
Yeah.
so at some point in time, it will crash. So since nobody really put it how much they thought it was worth, $1 equals 3,539,312.75 Bavaria Venezuela dollars. So there's a great example
Right. I mean,
of corruption at its finest. I'll just leave it at that instead of getting into that.
Venezuela was once not. I mean, I'm not talking about one day long ago. They were
5 years
recently
ago,
a
Tom.
thriving,
Yes, 5
thriving
years ago.
economy.
Yes.
They were an energy exporter. They had everything in order. So, it can happen fast. Now they're a very, very small scale to, the U.S. government, but that doesn't mean, nobody's immune.
And then the next thing is that I am so convinced in Bitcoin that I am actually moving and selling an asset so that I can put the majority of that into Bitcoin, by the way.
You're still planning on increasing your Bitcoin position.
I think for the next 7 years, I think that there's going to be some type of event where we're going to see some type of a flash crash. And I would suggest if you guys really want to get some good deals, you should be on exchanges with an open order to buy Bitcoin at a crazy price, because I think that will happen.
Not financial advice.
Not financial advice,
George's
but I
opinion.
think that my opinion, right? I think that
and a trading strategy. What's the harm in having an order in at a crazy low number?
Yeah.
Again, not financial advice, but I know there's an awful lot of people. You'll see, if you look at the order books, you'll see people that have orders in, $10,000 down, $20,000 down. It's.
Remind me. Oh, I'm going to write this down so then I can tell you what I honestly think will happen this next year, but I'll tell it in the members only. Sorry, guys. Next thing is, to get your Discord to work with YouTube, you have to link the two together. I'll put that up on Discord under how to link YouTube and Discord together.
You put it on the public Discord, you're saying? Okay, I was going to say, because you can't put it on. Gotcha.
Look at that one, crypto. I personally put off moving to Florida and shut down my business for the BTC I brought this year. See, that's
wow.
I mean, that's awesome. Let's see, over time will tell, right? If it was awesome or not. But I think that's the whole reason I really got into XRP too, guys, by the way. There's also there's other coins that I think are going to do extremely well, and not really necessarily for good reasons either. And I have to tell you something. I do not like cryptocurrency for what it's used for. I don't like it. I hate it, honestly. I personally don't want to ever use it, but I'm a fool to think that it's not going to change in our lifetime. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
Well, you want to elaborate, or you feel like you've said enough?
No, elaboration is real simple. I don't like the fact that, everything is now known. Every aspect of how many, XRP you have, how many, BTC you have, how many Ethereum you have. I mean, they're all known now. Everything on network is known. It's only the coins that are off network that are not known. And those, I'm telling you, if you have them off network, do not bring them back on until you really have to.
If you're off network and you've been off network for a long time, then yeah.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate you. Look at that. Looking good, brother. Man, thank you so much. Feeling good. I've been working out like a fiend. That was the other thing. I've been just like, I feel that, right now, just just get yourself in great shape. That's so important. I gave up breads and sweet tea. That was the killer. So Tom,
I'll bring up this is another channel, but it's one I know you've watched from time to time. They just did something on the and I just bring this up because I see somebody talking about the Roman Empire in here. There's another prominent Bitcoin related channel where there's a guy and a girl and they take turns doing videos, and the guy just came on. What?
nothing.
The guy just came on and talked about how, we're already past the point of no return. The United States will fall.
They moved out. Just so you know, Tom, they moved out of the United States.
Did they really?
They gave up their citizenship and moved out of the United States. If it's crypto, tips.
Yep. That's who it was.
Yeah, they moved. I haven't watched them in like months, by the way, but they moved out of the whole United States.
They pop up onto my feed, and I hate to admit it, one of the things that grabs my attention is they have super short videos. So
right.
I'm just as guilty as the rest of the world. I got a short attention span sometimes. I do. There's some YouTubers I will watch. There's one YouTuber in particular I'm not going to mention. Well, I can. He makes 25 to 35-minute videos, and I watch them from start to finish. I have a high level of trust in that person. That doesn't mean I take his advice. Same thing goes for him that goes for me. And I've strongly disagreed. I'll tell you, it's Financial Education is the YouTuber I'm talking about. He has like 700,000 subscribers. He's been doing this forever. We were on opposite sides of the tattooed chef trade, which is kind of how he got on my radar. He was the biggest fan in the world. I think he's admitted it was his biggest mistake by far. So as I was 6 months into making my second or third, please be careful in tattooed chef. I don't get it. I don't see it. He was all in, and he took a lot of heat for that. But that one mistake notwithstanding, and everybody gets some right and everybody gets some wrong, I'll give him a free shout out. I think he's kind of goofy, and he's got a shtick and all that stuff. But
who is it?
It's his channel's called Financial. I think it's called Financial Education. His name is Jeremy. Some of you guys must. Crypto. Yes, it's Jeremy. So I think I've
never even heard of him or seen him, by the way.
I will tell you guys, he knows what he's talking about. He knows what, and that doesn't mean do everything he says. Yes, he pumped Voyager. Ouch. KLM, yes, Jeremy. So yes, everybody's right and everybody's wrong. I'm just telling you, he's done this for a long time, and he puts together thoughtful videos. That's what I'm saying. So take them as you should. All videos, including mine, take them with a grain of salt. Put them in as, considering them against your own due diligence for sure. Crypto Rich is saying, I like Meet Kevin better. So Meet Kevin has an even bigger. Meet Kevin recently, and it'd be interested to see if it's still there. Like just in the last week, he put a video, I'm starting over, and he deleted every single video he's ever made from his channel.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in forever, too.
I haven't seen him in forever. The thumbnail caught my eye because he had some old-timey clothes on and like a hat that my dad used to wear in the 40s or something. And so for whatever reason, that grabbed my attention. And I watched that video. And then I looked, and he did delete every single video he's ever made. So I don't know. He's very generic. What I will say is, and he's also very knowledgeable. He's got a gigantic team of people that work for him and with him. And I'm talking about, what's his name? Meet Kevin. He's a lot more high-profile individual, but he does not know stock analysis the way Jeremy does, in my opinion. So, anyway, yes, Jeremy called Meta, and I disagree. I feel the same way, Ross. I disagreed with him. I thought when
Did you actually write content and say, I disagree with you?
Huh?
Or no?
Who, me?
Yeah, on any other videos, just like, I 100% disagree with you.
No, I didn't. I've never actually written in the comments section of anybody's video anywhere other than to respond to the comments that we get on our channel.
Oh, just because you're so busy. I got you.
I just, the thought has never crossed my mind. Now, I mean, it's hard enough to just read everything that's coming at us, never mind go. But I admit, when Zuckerberg came out with he changed the name, one of the greatest branding in history. He changed the name, from Facebook to Meta. He went all in on the metaverse. They were, and then, that's amounted to exactly zero so far. And I'm not saying it won't be something someday. And then he put out this bizarre video, in my opinion, a very, very bizarre video. And I lost all faith in management at that point. The stock tanked, and I think it's pulled like a double or a triple. So, I mean, but having said that, Zuckerberg came around. The next quarterly, he was like, we're cutting costs. We're going to focus on profitability. I mean, all of a sudden it was like, they swapped him out with a new Zuckerberg robot and reprogrammed him. So
I will say one thing about me, Kevin. He shows all his trades, and that guy's freaking rich.
Yeah, he's got a lot. Both of those guys have a lot of money, and they share.
Yeah, he's over 10 million. I mean, that's like, wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I have mixed feelings about people. I guess you could say he's being transparent. Crypto Rich is saying, isn't Jeremy anti-Bitcoin? He's definitely not a fan of Bitcoin. He's certainly not a fan of the crypto universe. He's not converted to Bitcoin, so that is not his gig at all. I don't think he has any investments in Bitcoin. So there's another area where I disagree. I think he has thoughtful content. I'm not saying I agree with it all. Sometimes I strenuously disagree with it, but I just think he puts a lot of time, effort, and energy into his channel.
I shouldn't do this, but I should do this.
What?
He has a thing, is a Black Friday deal for $62. Become the master of the stock market, Jeremy's #1 stock course. Ability to see stocks Jeremy is buying and selling. Learn how Jeremy diversifies his portfolio. For $62. Should I buy it?
Well, he does that. Meet Kevin does that. All those guys have these big, very expensive programs. We do the opposite of that, George, and you and I made that decision. We charge $5 a month for our membership. So,
all these people are the 6-figure Hall of Fame. Wow.
But that doesn't mean they made 6 figures. That means they have 6 figures in their account. So
I'm gonna get the deal. Could be something on the members.
No, you can't share his stuff with our members. If you buy it, that's for you only.
Send me an email, guys.
Jay is saying, Tom, you sound like George on Sebastian. What does that mean? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I didn't even pick on him that bad,
I'm
Sebastian.
not.
I did
who
never
am I picking on.
Did you? You must be a member. Yeah, you're a member.
I just said
I did pick on him.
I just said I'm giving a few people that whose content I enjoy.
Jeremy has 1,127 paid members.
Nice. Well, he's got 700,000 subscribers. I mean, and he's been doing this for 10 years.
VIP Discord is $125.
Crypto Fever said, get rich quick schemes, all BS. I wouldn't spend a penny on that. I'd rather put it into Bitcoin. I mean, that's fair enough. And I do, there's so many of those programs out there. And so I would go into all of that with a healthy skepticism. That doesn't mean you never buy anything.
Just because I joined this thing, now I'm considered a person that has joined his membership, but it didn't cost me anything.
Oh.
but it looks like, you see what I mean? I wonder how many people he has on Discord.
I don't know.
Th-
Crypto. I just like how Kevin delivers neutral financial and political news. That is pretty rare to see neutral news. I will say, Meet Kevin's built up a massive, massive audience, and he is able to talk about a broad, unlike on our channel, where if we veer 1 millimeter from dead center, we.
Thank you for being a member that long, by the way. Thank you. I wasn't saying that, but I knew that but you got to admit, I didn't say anything about Sebastian, and only on the members channel, correct? I didn't rip on him in the regular chat. I just said he was a little confused. And then I got into it when we were all together. And I think that's fair, right? Is that fair or no? Is that not fair?
Yeah, I think you mostly talked about that in the members only.
Oh, that's a good one. Poll, who's better, Kevin or Jeremy?
I don't know if most people even know who either one of these people is. We're spending a lot of time talking about
I didn't even know
some
who
people
Jeremy
might
is.
not even know who the heck they are.
But I will tell you, whoever Kevin hooked up with to like do his actual like information and do his research and do his show is it's amazing.
He has several employees.
Yeah.
They're doing a different thing over there. I mean, that's a major. I won't say major. That's not fair. Okay, now we actually have
He put all his videos back up, by the way.
Oh, he did. We have a real super chat. So all those other ones, whether you can blame me because I'm usually the technical difficulty guy. Those were all fake, or they were past ones. So if they were all past ones, then thanks again, everybody. But George, not this George, but George G. Thank you very much for the super chat. And George said, "Hi Tom, question: if you know, is Kraken a safe place to load up on crypto?" I won't say it's safe or not. I actually have an account at Kraken. I don't really trade much. There were 2 or 3 places I opened accounts. Kraken is one of the well-known ones. George, you might be better suited to answer that question.
You know, somebody just wrote they're expensive. They're all expensive in my opinion, by the way. I have Uphold and I have Robinhood. Those are the 2 I have. I have Binance too, but I stopped using it just because I didn't want to get any trouble.
Yeah, you're not. Well, Binance US is shut down, and I know there's obviously easy ways to get onto
VPN,
the actual Binance.
You hear me?
Huh?
VPN.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
I'm familiar with Kraken. They're one of the big ones. I guess that's what I would say. So, and again, to George's point, I don't know that you want to be keeping your crypto on any exchange. You know.
Yeah, I would think that's probably the most important thing is Coinbase too. They're unfortunately they're huge, so they're probably not gonna go out of business. Not financial advice by any imagination, but
well, not only is Coinbase huge. Just to do a 10-second interjection, they're also, remember, BlackRock's partnered up and buddied up with them, so I don't think they're going anywhere.
But you got to look at what it takes to get your coins off of the exchanges. So this is the thing that always scares me. Some of these companies, like the reason I'm with Uphold is because that was the only one I could get XRP on at the time. And you had to wait 60 days before you could remove your coins off of network. So that, to me, is the worst thing ever. How long you have to keep it on that exchange before you can get it off. Swan is based on the BTC. They do not support other altcoins. Yeah, Swan is only, they're BTC people. So, I mean, I would definitely probably have more than one.
Right. Depending on how much cryptocurrency you have, like everything else, diversifying is always a good idea where you keep your crypto. And if you're buying it to hold it, you know, I think George and I are both of the opinion that you're best to take it off of exchange unless you are a traitor.
And then the other thing is, as much as my wife's not here, so I have been DCA and on Bitcoin every single week. As much as it pains me, goes up, goes down, I'm still going. But even though I think it's going to crash, I have a major order in though if it does crash.
You got to order in a super low number.
Yep. Not super low anymore. And you can do multiple orders too. You can do 25,000, you can do 30,000, you can do 33,000, you can do 35, you know what I mean? So you can get them as it's coming down.
Somebody's telling us Bitcoin's pumping again. Jay was saying that, so let's just look from this was, well, I mean, we're kind of, yeah, we pulled back and we're up, so
The weekend pump is here.
well, you can see I'm looking for the closing candle here with the U.S. equity markets. So this is where Bitcoin was when the U.S. equity markets closed today. It was at almost right where it's at, a little above where it's at. So then we got a little drop, and now we've come back. So we're up and down, and that is exactly to my point. Somebody was asking, I don't know what the title is. I think it was like Bitcoin's driving us crazy. And the reason for that title is we talked about this earlier. I mean, I'm going to go to the 1 day. Like, this was insanity. This Wednesday's candle. Here. Wednesday's candle. All right. From the bottom to the top. That's a 7% candle in 1 day. So 7%. I mean, that's a gigantic. Just as we were 4 days into the red, all the technicals were looking like Bitcoin was about to, you know, we spent our members-only stream, you know, figuring out which line of support we were going to go retest. And then what happens? Boom, a 7% up red or green candle. Okay, then you get excited, and then what do? They rug pull. So the very next day, all of a sudden, you know, from top to bottom, and it didn't close down here, but this was, you know, this was over 6% to the downside. It pulled back, and it ended up just a little under 5%. To the downside, but you know, 7% up 1 day, 5% down another day. In any other, if that was the S&P 500, you know, you'd be talking about historic events. Now, obviously, Bitcoin has days like this. We see a bunch of them, even just on this chart. We just had a massive, massive breakout day. This was the real, to me, this was the real beginning of the breakout. That was a 10% candle. So, and that's not from the high to the low. That's from the open to the close. On what day was this? This was on October 23rd. You know, we were up 10%. We took out the high of the year for the year 2023, and we've been off to the races. So, you know, the volatility this week has been brutal. I will tell you, when I do my weekend charts and show you Bitcoin versus the Bitcoin miners, Bitcoin's down this week, and I think there's going to be a bunch of miners that were in the green this week. Now, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't the greatest week in history, but I think it'll be a little bit better. You know, the Bitcoin miners will have outperformed, on the average, will have outperformed Bitcoin this week. Obviously, on the average does you no good if you happen to be in a miner, you know, that didn't. But you guys all know which miners I'm in and, you know, which ones I prefer. We're at 95 likes. Anybody who's ready, willing, or able. Oh, Barry's just saying it while I'm saying it. Thank you, Barry, for pointing that out. We always shoot for 100 likes. Thank you to the 95 who have smashed the like button. Anybody who's willing, it does help the live stream. And it's much, much appreciated. FV702 said next 38K pump will go past the number to 42K. So that is the key. And the other thing about this pump that we had on Wednesday, this was important because even though on November 9th, we actually, so the high on that day was 37,999 on the chart I'm looking at. This is TradingView. This is the, let's see, this is the Bitcoin Coinbase chart. So just under $38,000. We basically retested that 37,987, so a couple dollars away. But there's a big difference. This candle back here on November 9th closed at 36,732. The next day we had a candle that closed at 37,349. That's the highest candle close of the year. So after this 4-day pullback, this 1-day run up, this was the new high daily candle close of the year by a bunch. So I think that was important. So to FE702's point, we tested this once, we've tested it twice. Is this going to turn out to be resistance? Is this the end of the run? Is the peak of this run at 38,000? Or can we break through? And I do think, let me see where my next, I kind of deleted a lot of my lines here. But I do, we've talked on the channel about 42,000, and then I have a line at 48,000. To me, those are some points that I think if we can break through this 38,000, I do agree that would be the run to 42,000. We'll see what happens. Jay is asking you, George, are you there?
No, I just started looking at Felix and Friends.
Oh.
You're convicted that Bitcoin miner leverage play on Bitcoin shaken in the way to do to recent I'm losing my faith in Bitcoin miners, Tom. That's why I've been trying to bring you to talk about them.
Oh, then I'll talk about them.
I'll be honest with you. It just seems like anytime they start to do good, then they go and say, "Oh, we're going to need to borrow another $500 million." And, and then it just, deflates the opportunity of a run on these Bitcoin mining companies.
The first thing I'll say is all Bitcoin miners are not created equal. So I have been saying on the channel for a long time, in my personal opinion, there will be winners and there will be losers. I try to do a lot of deep dives. I will do some more. I've done as the one I'm really waiting for is CleanSpark has not yet put out their financial statements. So that's coming, I think, in the December. So I'll do a deep dive on that. I did a deep dive on the Marathon financial statements quarterly report, on the Riot quarterly report. All of these Bitcoin miners have very different company profiles. They have different philosophies. And as several of them, here's the thing. There are several of these that have set themselves up to survive. I'm going to use the word survive for now. And I know ultimately we're looking for thrive. We want these to be big moves to the upside. But right now, the number one talking point, and George is talking about losing faith in the Bitcoin miners. There's this giant narrative out there that the Bitcoin miners are going to fail at the halving, unless we're at some astronomical number. But I can tell you, there's a top 5 that are not going anywhere, almost regardless of what the price of Bitcoin is at the halving. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to last forever if Bitcoin fails. If you don't believe Bitcoin in the long term is going to be, successful, have its next, 4-year cycle, get past its previous all-time high, do all the things that Bitcoin has always done. Bitcoin miners are a leverage play on Bitcoin. So if you are bearish on Bitcoin, then you shouldn't be in the Bitcoin miners. But if you are bullish on Bitcoin, there's a lot of these.
That's not true.
What's not true?
Look at the price action for the last week or two on the miners, and then look at what Bitcoin's done.
If you use a microscope and look at short windows of time, you're going to see there's always unusual relationships. This is how, somebody just mentioned it earlier in the chat. This is how they drive people out of Bitcoin. It's how they drive people out of the Bitcoin miners. And it's not unique to this industry. It's across, particularly small cap, high growth things can be pushed around, but ultimately they get where they're going. We're 2+ years into a risk-off environment. These are tough investments to be holding on to. But here's the thing. Just like, we just talked a lot about Jeremy. When Meta was down at $80, nobody wanted to touch it with a 10-foot pole, right? It's like, Meta's no good. They've failed. And so I'm going to go look at them right now because you can always make this argument. Meta's at $335. Their 52-week low was 108. I believe they got lower than that. They got down to, this says $93. I think they got even lower than that. But anyway, so they pulled a 90 to 335 in a year. Or 100, if you want to go to the 52 weeks, right? They've tripled. These are the opportunities. So if you look at, and this is why I do my deep dives looking at the fundamentals of the company.
Did you get that run?
On Meta?
Yeah.
No, I said earlier, I thought I didn't want to touch Meta with a 10-foot pole. And I had lost faith in management, and it's that simple. So I don't care what else is going on. You know, you need to understand the fundamentals of the company. You need to do your due diligence. You need to understand the industry they're in, and then you need to have faith, or you need to feel that management is doing a good job and is going to make good decisions and do the right thing. I saw Meta doing some what I thought very bizarre things, and that did not continue. They had a massive turnaround. I don't know what happened.
I don't want to touch Apple at $18 Nash fee. Oh my goodness.
Right. This is what I'm saying. Like, look at the examples. This is the hard time. Bitfarms at $1. You can sit here and go, man, it's been, plus or minus of $1 for what feels like forever. So, okay, but at one point it was $9. So, what if Bitcoin does go on a bull run? What if Bitcoin is $250,000 sometime in the next 5 years? What's Bitfarms going to be then? What's CleanSpark going to be then? What's Marathon going to be then? If you're bullish on Bitcoin, and if you like the fundamentals of a company, what the stock is doing, people get very, very caught up in how a stock is performing. A stock is only performing in the short term, however the market pushes it around to perform, particularly these micro cap stocks. Almost all the Bitcoin miners are micro cap stocks, right? I mean, what's the, just so we understand, give me 1 second here.
Hang on. Sebastian pointed out, I guess, after the halving is when the bull run starts usually.
Yes, we can look at that. That's not a revelation. We've never gone into a halving above the previous cycle's all-time high. So
this is how I have to explain it. I look at trading stock as poker, playing poker. Whether you want to accept that or not, I don't know. But and I don't lose at poker. I just, every once in a while, I might lose, like I lost the last time I played poker, which was, 3 years ago now, Tom? I lost $1,800. I brought in $100. I got it up to $1,800, and I thought I had a lock, and I lost it, and I bet it all. And I was like, I'll never play again.
Well, you went all in. That was.
I went all in. I went all in. I should have just pulled $100. I was so mad. Remember that? I'm like, no, that's wrong. That's wrong.
But let me take this opportunity to say, okay, if I can just say, for anybody who's listening, and George, this is why, and you've managed with XRP, you've managed to not have that point of view. But
no, not at all.
If you treat your stocks like you treat poker, if you're doing it in a gambling way, just understand the same thing holds true. Over time, the house always wins.
Right.
So if that's your approach, you're setting yourself up to lose.
Well, no, now I look at it differently. You want to know how I look at my investment into BTC and XRP? And I hope Sour Melon isn't still listening. I look at it, I don't even own, that money's gone. I lost that money. It's out. Does that make sense? Like, I don't even consider it like money.
You're saying that's gone, right? You've put it away.
Gone. Whatever it is,
10 years,
gone.
20 years, 100 years.
I'm never touching it. I got to leave that alone for the next 3 to 5 years. So to me, it's gone money.
that's the way you should look at a long-term investment. If you're buying and holding, that's the exact mentality you have to have. And that way, when things are right, there's bull parts of the cycle and bear parts of the cycle. And remember, Bitcoin's still way off of its all-time high. So, and we're going into a halving. So the expectation that the Bitcoin miners would be, at their all-time highs or at gigantic numbers right now. Sour Melon Gaming said, "Oh, I'm still listening." So, sorry, I just sidetracked myself. I'm going to bring this definition up because I think this is important for everybody to understand. I looked up microcap stock. A microcap is a stock with a market cap of between $50 million and $300 million. So there is something even smaller than that, but there's small cap stock. So there's several categories, but large cap, medium cap, small cap. So this is even smaller than a small cap stock. These are very, very small stocks. So there's beneath that, there's a nano cap stock. So under $50 million. By the way, a bunch of the Bitcoin miners are now nano cap stocks. So yes, they can get pushed around. So you need to understand there's more volatility, there's more risk, there's more of all of those things. Most of the time, companies are this small. If you look at their underlying fundamentals, they tend to be not good. I think a lot of these companies have been all treated as a group. Some of these companies, I think, have very strong fundamentals if you believe that Bitcoin is going to move up over time. I'll give you an example of a company that most people think I hate. Marathon couldn't care less what the price of Bitcoin is at the halving. In fact, they're rooting for it to be as low as it can be. They made that, in my opinion, perfectly clear on their conference call. Fred talked about it with me in our interview on the channel. He is not bullish for Bitcoin going to the halving. He thinks there's going to be buying opportunities. He thinks Bitcoin's going to have a rough time at or around the halving, and they are expecting to buy other companies. The reason they don't care what the price of Bitcoin is take a look at their balance sheet. They have a cash runway of years and years and years. Now, nobody wants to sit around if Bitcoin's not doing its thing for the next 5 years. You don't want to wait for your company to slowly burn through their cash over the course of 5 years. But this is why I'm saying and I don't want to speak for them. In my opinion, they're rooting for Bitcoin to get whacked one more time. It's beneficial to Marathon. They think their company will be better off at the opportunities that will present if Bitcoin gets one more rough run going into the halving. So there's several companies in that position where, the talking points on almost every other channel that I've seen out there and on the networks and on, everything everywhere. Oh, if Bitcoin's not at X, the Bitcoin miners are in big trouble. Well, I can tell you, if Bitcoin was at 0, Marathon would survive the halving. I'm just saying. That's just math. Now, nobody thinks Bitcoin's going to 0, and anything's possible, outside of extraordinary circumstances that have nothing to do with operations. Right? Because outside of everything else, they keep $100 million of cash sitting around. Every quarter, for many, many quarters in a row, on top of their gigantic stash of Bitcoin, and they have the largest hodl position of any Bitcoin miner, they keep $100 million laying around. So, I've taken probably a massive amount of criticism for, actually 50-50. A lot of people think I hate Marathon. A lot of people think I love Marathon. I don't even own the stock Marathon. I'm just telling you, they're not going out of business at the halving. They're not in a situation where Bitcoin needs to be at $50 or $60 or $70 or $80,000. If Bitcoin's at $20,000, they're going to be thrilled. And they've so much as said so. So that's just one miner. And that's not even one I own. So if that's how I feel about one that I don't even own, imagine my thoughts on the ones that I do own. Doesn't mean I'm right, right?
Tom, somebody said, and I'm sorry who it was, you didn't even talk about the energy deal with Bitfarms.
Oh, yeah, Bitfarms, it's a short-term deal, but for what is the summer in Paraguay, which is the next 6 months, they reduced their energy cost down to, I think, 2.1 cents. So, yeah, they've got 150 megawatts ultimately that's going to be in Paraguay. They're building that out, a piece at a time. They have been there. They were there first. Marathon has now done a 1.1 exahash joint venture in Paraguay, but Bitfarms has already been there for a year or more. And, they just signed a deal for 150 megawatts in Paraguay. And in the summer months, they're going to pay 2.1 cents for their power, which is that is an outstanding power purchase agreement. Now, it's only half the year, but even for the other half of the year, I think it was at 3.3 cents or something like that. I could look it up. You can correct me if these numbers are a little bit wrong, but the plus or minus, those are the numbers. I think 2.1 cents was their deal. Let's look it up so that I'm not just making up numbers. Oh, by the way, for those of you, hopefully nobody's holding ChargePoint. I will mention this. I have mentioned this on this channel probably 10 different times. Not financial advice, but stay away from the charging stations. I've said it's my opinion. They're all going to zero. ChargePoint is at its all-time low, and it was down 35% today. So they're the big name in this space. They're now an $808 million market cap. This company's now down, including today's 35% move, they're down 95% off of their all-time highs. Now, as Bitcoin mining investors, we're used to numbers like this, but to me, I would still hold out to you, this is a company where I don't know how they succeed. Anyway, that's not what our purpose was for being here. 2.1 cents per kilowatt hour. 54 megawatts at Rio Cuarto. Oh, and this actually, I think this is their Argentina plant, right? So I've been talking about Paraguay, which is where they're at, but this is Argentina. So it's summer in Argentina. This is their 54 megawatts. So, and 54 is where they stopped. So my apologies. I'm glad we went and double checked this. This is in Argentina. Now, they had the rights to build out 210 megawatts in Argentina. They pivoted and they moved over to Paraguay where they're going to do 150 megawatts. But they do have this 54 megawatts in Rio Cuarto. And so that's where they're going to have it. It is now summer. And so the price of power is down there. And so you can see their rate, 2.1 cents. And that is from November 2023 through April of 2024. And then you'll see, I think it goes to 3.2 cents per kilowatt. So even that's a really good rate. This is natural gas. This is now I think they're doing more and more of this, but up until they went to Argentina, they were 100% hydropower. Now they're in Argentina in natural gas. I think Paraguay may also be hydropower. I would have to double check. I can't remember. Anyway, this is a great deal for them. The stock did pop on this. You'll notice these numbers feel so low, they feel like the same number, but Bitfarms is hanging out, at $1.18, $1.20. It got even a little higher than that. So that's 20% move from, around $1, 18 to 20% move to the upside. And that was mostly, corresponding to that news coming out. So I think that was a big part of the reason that they jumped. I'm going to end this poll. This has been 50-50 all along. It's 51-49. How would a great recession affect Bitcoin? 51% think it would cause a bull run for Bitcoin. 49% think it would crash with everything else. And I'm going to call this 50-50 because, this has been fluctuating in this area. So a virtual tie, over 100 votes. So people are pretty split on what a big deep recession would do to the price of Bitcoin. We will end that poll. All right. Thank you, everybody. We did get to 100 likes, but you can still, if you have not, please feel free to smash the like button. It helps the channel out a lot. It helps the live stream out a lot. So it's much appreciated.
That is a good question, Michael. I'm going to answer. Is CleanSpark better than Bitfarms? I'm not going to answer. Tom, you got to answer.
Well, you can give your take on that, and then I can give
No,
my
I don't
take.
really know anything about Bitfarms except they're Canadian. I don't know like any cash reserves. I know nothing about them. I know nothing about, you know what I mean?
All right.
I mean, my knee-jerk is obviously CleanSpark, just because they're closer.
I think that CleanSpark, so I don't like to say that they're better than Bitfarms. They both have different business models. I will say that I think Bitfarms made well, they're probably the two.
Well, maybe.
I'm trying to say 5 things at the same time. Let me regroup. They are 2 of the most highly efficient Bitcoin mining companies. So that's something I like about both of them. Bitfarms has gone a long way to strengthen their balance sheet. I think they're in a very good position going into the halving. But I do have CleanSpark personally ranked as the #1 Bitcoin miner out of all the Bitcoin miners. So coming into the year, I put out my list of my top 8. I had 4 that I thought were ultra high level of conviction in, and then 4 beyond that. That was my top 8. Riot was #1. CleanSpark was #2 on January 1st. CleanSpark has now moved into the #1 position on my list. So while I would answer that CleanSpark is better than Bitfarms, those are 2 of my 3 largest positions. But I will say, especially over the last 6 months, I've dollar cost averaged in CleanSpark a lot more than I have into Bitfarms. So, that's my personal opinion. They are now over 10 exahash. They will soon be, unless something unusual happens, sometime in the next 75 days, I think they're going to get, that 16 exahash up and running. And then, they have plans to get to 20 and beyond. So, but their 16 is imminent. It's all paid for. It's in place. The question is, they were hoping December, but I think they've even said more likely January of 2024. But, if they can get to 16 exahash in January 2024, that gives them maybe 90 or 100 days to mine that 16 exahash and bank Bitcoin. Because other than the month of October, the 3 months previous to that, they pretty much banked all their Bitcoin into Treasury. So, they now have over 2,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. They could dramatically increase that number prior to the halving. Depending on their philosophy, they could have 4 or 5 or 6,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet, possibly more. Who knows? Now, they did spend a bunch of their Bitcoin in October. That was a change of pace from the 3 previous months to that. So we'll have to wait and see what they do in November. I'm expecting very good numbers from them in November, record-breaking, because of the fees going up so much. And then obviously when they jump from 10 to 16 exahash, they should be over 1,000. I think, they stand a shot at maybe mining, 1,000 Bitcoin in February, March of 2024.
You gotta get down, kitty. Come on, get down.
Bitcoin's on the move a little bit. We're moving in the right direction.
Okay, come here.
We got 2 strong green 15-minute candles. I know that's very micromanaging, but we're up. We're up on the live stream. Crypto Fever said, I think once we start creeping closer to 45K, we will start to see the leverage come back into the miners. And we all know when miners move, they move fast and furious. So I'm on that exact same page. This is going to be a little bit of a flip that gets switched. And right now, right now there's such a gigantic narrative, 2 or 3 different narratives out there that are just anti-Bitcoin miner. But I do think once we get 45 is a real good number. Once we, if we get to 42, 45, 48,000, those narratives are going to start to evaporate, in my opinion, and FOMO is going to start to occur. These are, like I said, very small cap stocks. They're micro cap stocks. So other than Riot and Marathon, and there's 4 or 5 that are bigger than that. Well, let's take a look. Let me go to my chart. Okay, so as of last Friday, and these are ballpark. These are a combination of, Yahoo lists these. I double check them across other sources. Also, I have my own calculation based on their financial statements. So these numbers are not perfect, but they're reasonably accurate. So do your own due diligence. Don't rely on them. But anyway, you can see Riot and Marathon were actually tied last Friday at $2.139 billion. They're so substantially bigger in market cap than all the rest of the Bitcoin miners. It's crazy. Cypher was at 759 million. So that's, just a little over a third the market cap of these guys. Then CleanSpark, we dropped down to 571 million. By the time you're from Bitfarms on down, all these are micro cap, and Argo blockchain's on the cusp of being a nano cap, and then DMG, Gree, DigiHost, Stronghold, Any, Mawson, these are all nano cap. So some of these, in my opinion, some of these will not make it. So I don't have my head in the clouds. I don't think every single Bitcoin miner is going to 10x, 20x, 30x, 50x. I've been saying for a long time, I do believe there will be winners and losers. I have my opinion on, which ones I have the highest level of conviction in. There's a few that I talk about that I think the market has displayed that they're deeply disturbed in. If I go to this chart, you're going to see Any's down in. As of last Friday, Bitcoin was up 125% this year. Any, which is Sphere 3D, they were down 49%, while Bitcoin was up 125%. Mawson's down 60% in the time that Bitcoin's up 125%. So I think it's fair to say, and Stronghold's in the red, down 19%. It's fair to say the market has lost all confidence in Argo Blockchain, Stronghold, Any, and Mawson. That's not my opinion. That's what the market is saying. So I actually have a few more past that I personally have lost confidence in. But again, I think there's going to be winners and losers. So if you're in best of breed, I think you're going to have big gains. That's my opinion over time. Michael Anthony, I won't go through them one by one, but a lot of these miners have no debt. And that is one of the biggest numbers that I look at. So it's one of the things that Bitfarms drastically changed. They will have no debt at the halving. They've shed about $100 million of debt already. They're heading towards zero, and they will be at zero before the halving. That's one of the reasons I have, maintained my conviction in Bitfarms. They've drastically changed their balance sheet. So they have very little debt. CleanSpark has very little debt. Riot has no debt. I'm talking long-term debt, structured debt. So, and they're not alone. There are several others that have zero debt. So that's another narrative that goes around, that all the Bitcoin miners are leveraged to the hills, and they're all, the debt's going to run them over. Well, most of these names you're looking at, they have very little debt or no debt. There's a couple that have debt. I think those companies are in big trouble at the halving. That's my personal opinion. So that's the one thing, because as George mentioned, the peak of the cycle is not at the halving. It can be 6 months after the halving. It can be a year after the halving. So the upswing will happen. So I do think we're going to continue. And I think this cycle will be a little different. Every cycle's been a little bit different than the previous one. We have some different things going on. I think the spot ETF is a game changer. We voted on this last week or the week before on Friday. Is that the biggest catalyst in the history of Bitcoin, and overwhelmingly everybody said yes. If and when a spot ETF is approved, that will be the biggest catalyst in the history of Bitcoin. So, that is ahead. So I think for some of those reasons, Bitcoin will fare a little better going into the halving and in the months following the halving. And then I think we'll have, we will take out our all-time high. I don't, it's anybody's guess how high we go. But yes, there's lots of companies that have no debt. There are a few companies that do have a bunch of debt. And I think that going into the halving, the companies that have a heavy amount of debt, I do think are going to struggle. I will make one exception to that. Marathon has 317 million, I believe, in debt, something to that 320 million, whatever, somewhere over $300 million in debt. But their debt is convertible debt, and no principal is due for 3 years, and it's at 1% interest. So that debt is not going to run Marathon over. That interest is practically a rounding error for them. Now, 3 years from now, if Bitcoin hasn't done its thing, then they got a $300 million situation. But I think, if Bitcoin hasn't done its thing 3 years from now, they're going to have a situation anyway. Crypto Fever said, top 3 for me are CleanSpark, Riot, and Marathon in that order. Michael Anthony said, so Riot, CleanSpark, but only like buying the ones with no debt only. Yeah, I mean, to me, and I don't differentiate, if a company has 6 or 8 or 10 or $12 million in debt versus what these companies are doing and their strength of balance sheet, especially a lot of these companies, even if you include their debt in their current ratio, they still have strong, very positive, in other words, they have enough current assets to pay all of their current liabilities and all of their debt. The companies that are sitting in that situation, to me, are in good shape. That's my opinion. How somebody's in there as me.
What?
That's not me.
Hey, Tom.
That's not me. I don't know what they're asking you to check out. That is not me. That's a fake me. What is fake?
Funny.
What's fake me? Let's see how far back I gotta go.
If you ever made me a whatchamacallit, dude, like a chat monitor.
Oh, you could kick those type of people out.
Yeah, I've been telling you this.
I'm not great with the technology, but I am going to. Whoever's pretending to be me, my apologies, but I'm going to have to remove you because you are not
You're
me.
even being nice when somebody's being you. You can be mean at that point in time. My question is, why do you do it? That's my question.
Why?
Tom.
Why?
No. Why does he do that? Why? What is the purpose of that?
I don't know.
It's to scam people. So don't be nice.
Hopefully you guys can't see that anymore. Somebody was pretending to be me. Oh, did I just delete? Hold on.
Tom gets flustered when he sees stuff like that.
JM, I think I accidentally also somehow put, but I believe I just fixed it.
I gotta go anyways. We made it. Well, we got like a minute to go for our 2 hours.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's just check. Let's see where Bitcoin is, and then we'll call it. And so Bitcoin had a nice run during the stream. All right, George. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Hope you had a good week, everybody.
Had a fun time, everybody.
Thank you, everybody who joined us. Thank you, everybody, for smashing the like button. And special thanks to all of our members. Thank you so much. You guys have a great weekend. Go Bitcoin. And I won't say go Bills anymore because I've given up. So everybody have a great weekend.
See you guys. Oh, Tom, did we hang up?
Yes.
We did. Oh, okay. I was going to say.